Warriors basketball is back. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Chris Paul. 60 minutes before every game, we get you ready for tip. It's Warriors Live, and it starts now.
Yes, it is. Warriors Live here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you as we get ready for Warriors and Bucks in Milwaukee. The Bucks 26-12 coming off of their best win of the season. The Golden State Warriors 17-20 coming off of a nice win themselves. But the Warriors shorthanded tonight. We'll get to that here in just a little bit here on Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. Presented by Xfinity, the Xfinity 10G network made for streaming live sports. Mark Randy with you here on 95.7 The Game. We're an hour away from tip-off in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're about a half hour away from getting you out to Milwaukee with Tim Roy and company as they've got you covered, as always, throughout the entire game here tonight on 95.7 The Game. But let's just begin with the injury report because there's a couple of key names on that report for the Golden State Warriors. And we begin with Steph Curry, who is out resting tonight. It is the first game he's rested this season, the third missed game overall for Stephen Curry. The Warriors are 0-2 in the two games that Steph has missed this season. Remember, that was the close 3-point loss to Minnesota back in November. That was the game where Klay and Draymond got ejected in the first 2 minutes of the game, where Klay got into a scuffle with Jaden McDaniels. Draymond Green came over to aid Klay Thompson, grabbed Rudy Gobert around the neck. He got suspended for 5 games as a result of that. So the Warriors were without Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green in that one. They ultimately lost that game, and they lost the next time out as well against Oklahoma City. So without Stephen Curry resting, he will be back and he will play coming up on Monday against the Memphis Grizzlies. But he is not playing tonight in Milwaukee. He is out. Moses Moody is still out with a left calf strain. Draymond Green is still out as he continues to ramp up and get ready to play after his suspension. Steve Kerr has said pregame just a little bit ago, around 15 minutes ago, that he has, quote, a chance to play in Memphis or Utah. That's according to Steve Kerr pregame. Of course, Steve Kerr had said earlier that they hope that Draymond Green returns during this road trip. Memphis and Utah, those are the last two chances during this road trip. So again, according to Steve Kerr, Draymond Green has, quote, a chance to return in Memphis or Utah. But again, he is still out tonight for the Golden State Warriors. Chris Paul out as he's still dealing with that left hand fracture. He had surgery on that hand, and he is on the mend, but still out for quite a while. And GP2, Gary Payton II, is out for the Golden State Warriors tonight. Meanwhile, for the Milwaukee Bucks, Jay Crowder, he remains out. He has not played since November 11th. He had a surgery, left adductor surgery, so he's been out for a while, and that's the only Buck on the injury report. So a long injury report for the Golden State Warriors. No Steph, no Moody, no Draymond, no Chris Paul, no GP2. The Bucks have everybody available other than Jay Crowder. And that is today's injury report, brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more information, visit boxerlaw.com. And with that Steph Curry note, again, that he is resting today, the Golden State Warriors have a new starting lineup, and that starting lineup features Brandon Podziemski. So Brandon Podziemski, the rookie, is the starting point guard for the Golden State Warriors. He starts alongside Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, back in the starting lineup for a second straight night, Dario Saric, and Kevon Looney. So it's Podziemski, Klay, Wiggins, Saric, and Looney. It is the Golden State Warriors' 14th different starting lineup this season, and the Warriors' 6th different starting lineup in their last 7 games. The 2 games that Steph Curry missed previous to today, Chris Paul slid into the starting lineup in place of Steph Curry, but Chris Paul is also out, as I just said a little bit ago. So the Golden State Warriors going to a 14th different starting lineup tonight and 6th different starting lineup in their last 7 games for the Golden State Warriors. They've been trying to find something that works, and they might have stumbled upon something yesterday, and a big part of it is the play of Andrew Wiggins. He had himself a really nice game last time out for the Golden State Warriors, only 17 points, but active on the glass and on the boards, and we'll see if that can continue tonight for the Golden State Warriors. If they are to earn a win tonight, you feel like you're going to need a really good game from Andrew Wiggins once again. Jonathan Kuminga will come off the bench, and he said post-game he just wants to help the team win any way that he can, and what he did last night certainly helped. 24 points, tying a season high, a couple of points off of a career high. He made 4 3-pointers, and Steve Kerr talked last night about the play of his two wings, Andrew Wiggins in the starting lineup, and Jonathan Kuminga coming off of the bench. Here's what Steve Kerr had to say post-game last night about the play of those two guys.
Well, I think putting them with Dario helped spread the floor, and I thought both J.K. and Wiggs were just playing such great games that you got to throw them out there. They're two of our best players tonight, and I thought J.K. it was maybe the best game he's played, not just because he made 4 threes, but his spirit, his energy. He seemed right. He seemed comfortable. The whole group, the whole team was just committed to let's go out and win, and very proud of them. They've taken a lot of heat. We've all taken a lot of heat, this past week, deservedly so. But this is what you do as a pro. A lot of these guys are champions. You got to respond, and they did tonight.
Yeah, they certainly did respond, and it was led by their wings, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Jonathan Kuminga. Klay had 30 points. Kind of an interesting stat. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson last night, they combined for 57 points. They made 13 total threes, 7 from Klay Thompson and 6 from Stephen Curry. It's the 19th time in their careers, by the way, that both of those two have made at least 6 3-pointers in the same game. The Warriors now 16-3 in those 19 games, and it's the most number of games that a duo has each made 6 or more threes in NBA history. Second place is James Harden and Eric Gordon from those Rockets days. They've had 6+ threes in the same game 8 different times in their careers. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have done it 19 times in their NBA careers. It will not happen tonight. Tonight will not be the 20th instance of that because, again, Stephen Curry is out tonight, resting. He's not injured. He's resting. Steve Kerr did say pre-game, quote, he's wiped out. He's wiped out. Curry needed the break, but he will be back on Monday when the Warriors travel to Memphis, a game that the Warriors certainly hope to win. Memphis is without Ja Morant now for the rest of the season. And if the Warriors were planning on punting a game on the road trip, not saying that's their plan or their strategy at all, they're going to go for this win and try to win it. But if the Warriors were to punt a single game on this road trip, you'd kind of look at the opponents and you would pick this game to punt. I mean, Milwaukee's second best in the Eastern Conference right now. They're 26-12. They're coming off of a dominant win over one of, if not the best team in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. They outscored Boston by 33 points. 135-102 was the margin of victory for the Milwaukee Bucks last time out on Thursday. They had a day off yesterday. They slept in their own beds. Meanwhile, the Warriors were on a bus late last night getting into Milwaukee. And so Milwaukee certainly has the advantage in that regard. And this is a really high-powered offense. Damian Lillard now wearing a Milwaukee Bucks jersey. You pair him with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. Malik Beasley is having a fantastic season that's going under the radar just a little bit. The best three-point shooter in the NBA, percentage-wise, just barely under 48% from downtown this season. He's been incredible. And then Brook Lopez is one of the better defensive big men in the NBA, and now in his 16th season in the league, has changed his game around, and he's a consistent shooter from outside. And then you got the always steady Chris Middleton now in his 12th season in the NBA. It is a very veteran group and a very good group. They're 17-3 at home so far this season, and it's the in Thursday's game for Milwaukee when they put up 135 points over Boston, a very good team. It's the 15th time this season that the Bucks have scored 130 or more points, which is tied with the Pacers for the most such games in the NBA this season. They're the second highest scoring team in the league, averaging over 124 points per game, and they're 14-1 when they score 130 or more. And you look at some of the Warriors' recent games, the Warriors have given up a handful of point totals over 130 recently. But some of these Bucks offensive numbers, as I said, they are second highest scoring team in the NBA, over 124 points per game. Their offensive rating is also second best in the NBA. Those are both current franchise highs all time in Bucks franchise history. They're third in the league in field goal percentage. They're top 10 in three-point field goal percentage. They're third in effective field goal percentage. Any way you slice it, this is a really, really good offensive team, and the challenge for the Golden State Warriors is going to be limiting Milwaukee, and it's something the Warriors haven't done a lot of recently. The Golden State Warriors have allowed at least 70 points in the first half in 4 of their last 5 games. Remember, Denver at home, they gave up 70. The one that they didn't give up 70 or more in the first half over their last 5, when the Pistons were in town, the Warriors only allowed 46 points in the first half in that game. But then Toronto put up 76 points in the first 24 minutes. New Orleans, 73. Chicago, last night, 75. And according to Elias Sports Bureau, this is the first time in the shot clock era the Warriors have allowed 70 or more points in the first half 4 times in a 5-game span, and it's the second time in the shot clock era the Warriors have allowed at least 70 first-half points in 3 straight games. The other time it was back during the 2022-2023 season, so just last year in October, but the Golden State Warriors do not hope to make history in a bad way and make it 4 consecutive games and 6 of the last 7 allowing, 5 of the last 6 allowing 70 or more points in the first half. To go against that just a little bit, it has been the Warriors' offense. They were the reason they were in the game yesterday. They score 48 points in the third quarter last night, but they dished out 39 assists, and they only turned the ball over 5 times. That tied a franchise low. No Warrior team in the history of the franchise had committed fewer turnovers in a single game than the Warriors did last night. It's the third time since turnovers were first tracked beginning in the 1970-1971 season that a team had as many assists as the Warriors did last night, 39 with 5 or fewer turnovers. The Timberwolves did it back in 2003. And the Pacers did it back in 1987. So the Warriors, a historic offensive performance last night, but the game still came down to the wire because of some of the defensive issues. And we'll see if the Warriors are up to the task tonight, because you're going up against one of the best offenses in the entire NBA. They can beat you inside with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they can beat you outside with Damian Lillard. If it wasn't for a guy named Steph Curry, Damian Lillard would probably be considered the best shooter that the NBA has ever seen. Sorry, apologies to Klay Thompson. Damian Lillard, incredible. Klay Thompson, great in his own right. But Lillard, phenomenal career shooting from outside. And then you also got Malik Beasley, as I mentioned earlier, percentage-wise, the best three-point shooter in the NBA. And you got the always reliable Chris Middleton, and they've got a solid bench as well. So this is a big, big challenge for the Golden State Warriors tonight. And again, they're doing it without Steph Curry, without Draymond Green, without Moses Moody, and without Gary Payton II. The Bucks are without Jay Crowder, but that is it. Everybody else is available for the Milwaukee Bucks. And that brings me to our Take It to the Bank prediction, brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises. I'm going to keep an eye on the replacement for Stephen Curry in the starting lineup, and that is Brandon Podziemski. He struggled a little bit offensively over his last 3 games, only 5 points, 2 points, and 5 points again. And this comes after he scored in double figures in 8 straight games and 12 of his previous 14 games. So he was on a bit of a heater offensively, and the shots haven't been falling over the last 3 games. But I think that's going to change tonight. First of all, because he's likely going to get more minutes without Stephen Curry, and the Warriors are relatively thin in terms of point guards for tonight. You've got Corey Joseph, who's more of a straightforward point guard, but Steve Kerr obviously did not feel comfortable starting him tonight. So you go with Brandon Podziemski. He's going to get a lot more run tonight as expected. You will also see more Corey Joseph because the Warriors simply do not have other ball handlers. I know Warriors fans sometimes would point to Moses Moody. Moses Moody, first of all, not the ball handler that you need to be a point guard on this team. And, of course, he's out tonight as he continues to deal with that left calf strain that kept him out last night. He will be out through the road trip and will miss the first game with the Warriors back. He'll be reevaluated on January 22nd, meaning he will miss at least 4 more games. But Brandon Podziemski going to get more run, and he's also a Milwaukee area kid. He was a Mr. Basketball winner in Wisconsin in high school, and now he returns to his home state, in his home area. He's not, from Milwaukee city limits, but from the metro area. I'm sure he'll have a bunch of friends and family in attendance watching him tonight, and now he gets to start, and he'll want to show out in that extended role. So my Take It to the Bank prediction, again brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises. It is 10-plus points for Brandon Podziemski tonight, and I think he gets back into double figures scoring the ball. And if the Warriors are going to have any chance against Milwaukee tonight, you feel like they're going to need the offense to get going. The Warriors kind of have everything stacked against them right now. They are, or they have been, especially lately, one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, and considering who is out, you can understand it, but it hasn't always looked pretty either for the Golden State Warriors, and you're going up against one of the best offensive teams in the NBA, who are coming off of their best win of the season, who were maybe watching your game from the comfort of their own homes last night. Meanwhile, you were in Chicago watching the Bulls induct their inaugural Ring of Honor class, and you had to fight deep into the fourth quarter to earn that win, and you did it. But now you're on a back-to-back. You're going to Milwaukee, a place that historically, at least recent history, you have really struggled playing in against a team that's one of the better teams in the NBA. The odds are certainly stacked against the Golden State Warriors tonight. However, what is interesting is the Warriors' records, the record in back-to-back so far this season. This is the Warriors' 7th back-to-back of the year. So tonight concludes their 7th set of back-to-back games. The Warriors have a league-high 15 back-to-backs this year, by the way. After last night's win in Chicago, the Warriors are now 4-3 in the first game of back-to-backs. And believe it or not, in the back-end game, the final game, the second game of back-to-backs, like tonight is, the Golden State Warriors are 5-1. 5-1. This old veteran Golden State Warrior team, you put them up with short rest against, whoever it is on the schedule. They're 5-1 on short rest on the back end of back-to-back so far this season. So we will see if the Warriors can improve that mark to 6-1, but the odds are certainly against the Golden State Warriors. And you have a feeling that if the Warriors are going to keep this one close, you're going to need another Klay game. And he was really good last time out. Last night he scored 30 points, matched a season high. He's made 7 3-pointers, which was one shy of a season high. He scored 17 points in the third quarter, the most points he scored in any quarter this season. And last night was a loud performance from Klay. He's kind of quietly been putting together a good stretch of games. Over his last 6 games, Klay Thompson is averaging 21 points per game. He's shooting just a tick, 49.5%. Just a tick under 50% from the field, and he's making over 44% of his three-pointers, and he's shooting 92% from the free throw line. So he's been playing really good basketball. Again, last night was kind of a louder statement, 30 points. He made 5 3-pointers in the third quarter alone. 17 points in that quarter was the reason the Warriors kind of turned around to begin that second half. But you feel like if the Warriors are going to have a chance against Milwaukee tonight, they're going to need more of that from Klay Thompson. And the other one, and I'm seeing this here on our YouTube chat powered by First NorCal Credit Union, Shout out to Swole Mole. You can visit us, youtube.com/957thegame. Let's hope Wiggins can have a good game back-to-back. That's another key in this game, obviously. I thought Andrew Wiggins last night in Chicago, the best game he's played so far this season. It wasn't his best scoring game. I think he was, 1 for 5 from downtown. It wasn't his best shooting game from the field. I mean, he scored more points in games this year. I think his best scoring game, he had that epic 30-point game against Oklahoma City where the Warriors ended up losing, where he would just make 3 after 3 after 3. He was really good in the second half against the Denver Nuggets on Christmas. But all around, in terms of a floor game, impacting the game on both ends, getting out and running, getting on the boards, making all the right passes, cutting at the right times. In terms of his feel, his impact on both sides of the floor, I thought it was Andrew Wiggins' best game of the season. And I can say the same for Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga, coming off the bench, played 24 minutes and tied a season high with 24 points. It's his fourth 20-point game of the season, his 18th consecutive game scoring in double figures, and he's averaging over 15 points per game in that span. And Jonathan Kuminga, by all accounts, at least based on how he answered the questions last night, didn't seem too upset or frustrated that he didn't start. I mean, he closed the game, and he was on the floor in the biggest moments for the Golden State Warriors, did not start, but he had himself a fantastic game, and the Warriors are going to need help from everybody tonight if they are to earn a win. All right, few minutes left here of Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you. We'll get you out to Tim Roy and company from Milwaukee coming up in just a little bit. But up first is What's on Tap, brought to you by Farmers Brewing. Have you tried Farmers Brewing yet? If not, it's time to put your lips on a Farmer. I mentioned this just a little bit ago, but this is the back end of a back-to-back tonight in Milwaukee. The Warriors played and won in Chicago last night before busing to Milwaukee. This is Golden State's 7th set of back-to-backs this season, and the Warriors have 15 total back-to-backs, which is a league high. They're tied with 9 other teams with 15 back-to-backs this season. Interestingly enough, though, the Warriors have actually been elite on the back end of back-to-backs this season. They're 5-1 in games like tonight. The back end, the final game of a back-to-back. The Warriors are 5-1, but this is probably the most challenging back end of a back-to-back they've played all season. The Milwaukee Bucks, their high-powered offense in Milwaukee, coming off of a hard-fought game where you had to play all 48 minutes last night in Chicago, and you're without Draymond Green and Moses Moody, as you have been for a couple of games, and now you're also without your leader in Stephen Curry. So that's going to be a challenge for the Golden State Warriors. That is What's on Tap, again, brought to you by Farmers Brewing. All right, final minute here of Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. Warriors Live, as always, presented by the Xfinity 10G network as we get you ready for Warriors and Bucks. The Bucks 26-12, one of the best home teams in the NBA, 17-14 in the friendly confines, and they're coming off of their most dominant win of the season, their most impressive win of the season. They led wire to wire, ultimately winning by 33 points over the Boston Celtics last time out on Thursday. The Warriors come in winners of 1 in a row last night in Chicago. They're 18-20 on the year and 7-9 away from home. Remember when this team began on the road, winning a lot of games? They haven't done that a lot recently, and this is going to be a big challenge. If you are into the betting landscape, the Warriors 13.5-point underdogs in this game. We'll see if they can at least cover. But the Warriors in Milwaukee coming up next here on 95.7 The Game. Tim Roy is standing by. He'll get you ready for tip-off, which is coming just a few minutes after 5 o'clock. That's on the way here on 95.7 The Game. I will be back with Warriors wrap-up once this one ends, and maybe the Warriors can pull off a miraculous shorthanded victory in Milwaukee. We will find out. Can't wait to talk to you coming up after the game. Thanks for listening to Warriors Live right here on 95.7 The Game.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for